Hey everyone, my name is Ben McRoy. I'm one of the pastors here at Faith Baptist Church, and I want to introduce to you the book of 1st and 2nd Chronicles. 1st and 2nd Chronicles was originally part of one book that was written sometime after the Jewish exiles returned from Babylon to the Promised Land. And while we don't know, Scripture doesn't tell us who wrote the book, tradition has said for many, many centuries has believed that Ezra, the priest Ezra, was the author of this book. And it was written as a reminder to the Jewish people of their identity as the people of God, as the importance, a reminder of the importance to worship God rightly, and then a warning to future generations of Israelites that if they move away from worshiping God, they will experience great consequences. Chronicles serves as a history of the Jewish people. The first 9 chapters of the book of 1st Chronicles is a lengthy genealogy that traces the people of Israel all the way back to Adam. After that, 1st Chronicles details the reign of King David and how he ruled and reigned as a godly king, and how God promised to David that he would have a descendant sit on his throne forever. 2nd Chronicles then traces all the descendants of David who ruled as kings of Judah before they were taken into exile by the Babylonians. In 2nd Chronicles, we see the kings become more wicked, and we see the kings continue to lead the people astray into idolatry and eventually being disciplined into exile in Babylon. The book ends, however, on a positive note with the people coming back into the Promised Land after King Cyrus of Persia has given them permission to return home. And so combined, 1st and 2nd Chronicles provides a reminder of the importance of following God's ways and the dangers of rebelling against Him. There's 3 key themes that are present in these books as you read that I hope you will see. The first is that God is sovereign over all of history. Chronicles is a history book. It reads like a history book. It has meticulous details that tell the story of Israel and how they progressed through generations of different kings. And this is important because it shows us that God is concerned with all the details of our life and all the details of history. It also serves to remind us that God is sovereign over all of history, and He is working to accomplish His purposes all the time. God works through righteous leaders and unrighteous leaders in the book of Chronicles. He is sovereign over history. Secondly, God deserves to be worshiped. There's lengthy sections in these books that detail the building of the temple and the service of the Levites as priests. God is worthy to be worshiped alone. And ultimately what leads the Israelites into exile is their failure to worship God alone and their pursuit of false idols. Chronicles serves as a reminder to us of the danger of worshiping false gods, but also reminds us of the blessings that we experience as we worship God and God alone. And then finally, and most importantly, one of the key themes of Chronicles is that we need a greater king. While David is portrayed as a good and godly king, and in 1 Chronicles 17, God promises that one of his descendants will reign on the throne of Judah forever. But then we see that David's reign ends, and the following generations that come after him proceed into wickedness and lead the nation astray. And we are left wondering over and over again, is this the king who will come and who will be the righteous king that God has prophesied? And over again, the answer is no. Their rebellion, as I've already said, results in their exile in Babylon. And while it ends on a positive note of them coming back into the Promised Land, the question of who is this promised righteous king who will reign forever, who is he? And what's interesting is that in the Hebrew Bible, Chronicles was the last book. It is the last book in the Old Testament according to Hebrew tradition. So really the Old Testament ends with this question of where is this righteous king? Where is this king who will rule and reign forever on the throne of David over all his people and reflect God's ways? And the question that is left in the Old Testament is a question that is answered in the New Testament with the coming of Jesus. And Jesus is the Son of God who is descended from David, who will rule and reign righteously as a king forever. And so as you read 1st and 2nd Chronicles, as you read the accounts of these kings, remember that these men are fallen human kings. but they point to a greater king who serves us righteously and who rules and reigns as God of the universe.